Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Inspired Show with Joe Cohen. I'm very excited today. As I said in our last 3 episodes, we're bringing on new co-hosts every single episode to give you some new enlightenment. My goal is to obviously inspire everybody to perform at their highest level, and I want to bring on people that are going to help inspire you to take it to the next level. So today I have an amazing co-host in Caleb Anderson, my former pastor, my former neighbor. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for making a special trip from Arizona just to be on my show.
Yeah. Flew in 2 hours ago, got to the Panini Grill. It feels good to be back here, and first time here in the podcast studio with you. It's so great.
Yeah, welcome in.
Thanks.
Super exciting. So we have been friends now. Gosh, you just kind of remind me before we got started for a little over 7 years now.
Maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Maybe like 8 or 9.
Yeah. And we met because Caleb was my neighbor, and he was a up-and-coming superstar in the community as the head pastor of a church. And, we kind of just clicked really early on, right? I did the proverbial, new neighbor come over with warm baked cookies, right?
I think it was. I literally warm baked cookies.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We talked about you both regularly, and Molly, just from a standpoint of like being the ideal neighbors.
Yeah.
That you guys were there, you worked from home, you had your eyes out the windows, you knew everything that was going on at the park and with the neighbors and with the people and the drive-bys and everything. You just had a beat on it. It was like, Joe is the ideal neighbor to have.
Yeah, exactly.
And he brings cookies.
Yeah. Well, I do tend to be a little bit of a, involved with everything as much as I possibly can, because, hey, at the end of the day, I'm in insurance and real estate. I want to know people who own houses and rent houses in my neighborhood, right?
That's right. Yeah, you want to know all the stuff, and you want to be known by all the people.
Yep, absolutely. It helps to have a mascot like Molly.
It does.
Because as you probably are aware, when you're walking the neighborhood with your kids, you only know the people by the names of the kids or the names of the dogs, right? Oh, that's Thunder's parents, right? Or that's so and so's parents, right?
Right. Yeah, it's kids or dogs. That's how you get to know people in neighborhoods. It's true.
Yeah. So how have you been, man? It's been a while since we last talked. I came down to Scottsdale in April.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
Man, so you brought up the pastoring thing, leading a church in Huntington Beach. Did that for like 6 or 7 years, and that was a fantastic season. And then there was a pivot, and I think that's one of the things that might be fun to get into. But pivoting life and career at 40 is kind of a thing.
It
right?
is.
And I think it's a thing that people like me, like regular humans, are afraid to do. Because if you've had success in an area, why would you not do that? Right. Why would you not keep doing that? People like it; it's working, but you feel, or I felt like there was something more, and I didn't listen to that really for a long time until I was forced to. And I think that's what happens sometimes. So we can dive deeper into that. But to answer your question, I think there was this progression of immediately into coaching. One-on-one coaching was the default. And then realizing that it's really difficult to scale that, especially when you leave your geographic community, move to Scottsdale, and you're kind of starting over relationally. But I found a way to scale by coaching business leaders. It's kind of the type of people that naturally gravitated toward me. Mm-hmm. So I just doubled down on it, and I bought a franchise with EOS, which stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System, which I think is the best execution system to incorporate into any small or medium-sized business. And it's been great. It's been working. I've been enjoying it.
And that was a real natural progression for you because of what you went into right after the the exit of the church, right? You went into this spiritual leader role where you were kind of on this journey to help people achieve growth through mindset and spirituality and oneness with close relationship to God and physical fitness. And it wasn't just about spirituality; it was also about the mental aspect of it. So,
or how everything is connected.
Yeah.
How it's all spiritual or it's all connected. And I think that was a natural progression because I was, you just look at, okay, this shift is happening. And how do I keep being me? Like, how do I maximize me? If I was good over here, sometimes, I don't know, with this Jim Collins in the business world, good is the enemy of great. So when you're good over here, it's hard to make that switch to where I might be great or where I might be more fulfilled. But as I started looking at that, again, kind of by force, I just kind of reel it back and go, all right, at the basic level, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I keep being me?
Yeah.
And I think I just kind of reduced it down to, I encourage people, I'm a good communicator, and I'm a good leader. People seem to be drawn to me, and I can move things forward. I can help things grow and catalyze momentum. So how do I keep doing that and get even better at that? And so I just started talking with a few people that instantly said, yeah, let's do a coaching relationship. And so I was like, all right. And so built a website and put that out, and some more people signed on. And then, so I immediately had some success and some good feedback with that. And then it was just a matter of, what does it mean to scale and to do this that is sustainable financially, emotionally, energetically,
Yeah. You talk about the friction that caused you to be in that situation. I'm a firm believer that friction and going against the grain, or any type of, some people will call it, bad moments that you're going through.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that that's all meant to happen for you to excel or grow on the other side of it, whatever that looks like. Right. I truly believe that any friction that you're encountering right at this moment is really designed to mold you into the person that you see yourself being, and ultimately who you're meant to be, right? Because I gotta say that with what happened, there was a lot of controversy behind it, and there was a lot of people that would just basically throw their hands up in the air and say, well, this happened to me, and it's everybody else's fault. But you didn't look at it from a point the finger perspective. You just said, how can I adjust? Yeah. Right. What was the thing that kind of like gave you that thought process, and how were you able to overcome the normal of going down a spiral of, woe is me, how this is happening to me, this is not where I see myself.
Yeah, I think that all those statements, those feelings are natural for every human, and I for sure experience them. I think maturity is about how quickly you can move past them.
Yes.
And so I've been through hard things before in my life, but this was another big one where it was just kind of this perfect storm of politics and injustice, and it was just kind of a mess.
Yes.
And other people made bad decisions. I didn't handle things as perfectly as I could have, and it just was what it was. But you think of like famous Bible verses or a famous Tony Robbins quote or things like that. Like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Right.
The situation in life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And you hear that before, and it's cute, it's a bumper sticker, but when you're going through like agonizing pain, when you're going through a complete disorientation, when everything feels like it's crumbling around you, you cling to those kind of words.
Right.
Like you have to.
Yeah.
You have to cling to them and cling to encouragement. And then if you let yourself just go there and go, I'm just going to choose to believe this. What are the alternatives? I'm going to sit and feel sorry for myself, or I'm going to make excuses and show how it's everybody else's fault. Or I'm going to believe this. I'm going to actually believe this isn't happening to me. It's happening for me. And there is good on the other side. That grace is all about good things coming from bad things, that beauty coming from ashes. And the best stories that we read or watch on TV or in the movies are all about people going through adversity and overcoming hard things to do even better things that they didn't anticipate or know were possible. Yeah. So I just chose to believe that that was the story I was living.
Amazing. That's so powerful, because, we all have little battles every single day.
Sure.
I'm going through battles right now at the moment, and of course with social media, we only put out there what we want people to see.
Yeah, the highlight reel. Yeah.
Right? But I'm personally going through some battles right now, and I want to say that every single day I'm saying to myself that this is where you're meant to be. This is you're going through this right now because this is where you visioned yourself to be. This is the plan. This is the goal. You have to fail forward.
That's it.
In order for you to get where you need to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So go out and fail.
It's it. I mean, we use the term fail because we know what it means and it makes sense, but there really is no such thing. Like, as long as you keep going, it's just a learning. It's not even a failure. You're just going to keep going, and it's going to be a stepping stone on your road to future success.
I'm reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki right now called Second Chance at Your Money, Your Life, and Our World. And he said that the only reason we know the word fail is because we learned it in school, because it was either pass or fail.
Yeah.
Right. There was no failure in the prior years before that, in the educational system. Right. So
we do that as humans. We feel like we have to categorize stuff, good or bad, right or wrong. There's psychological reasons for all of that, but it doesn't serve us. And then we prejudge everything instead of just with curiosity seeing life unfold and believing it's going to be for good.
Yes, absolutely. So another thing I heard in that precursor to the change that happened was you were actually feeling that you needed a change before it actually happened, right? So in reality, was it that that sense that you had that there's something missing in your life that you need to go out and find, and then this the universe, God, spirituality, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
I believe it's God.
Yeah.
I believe you also believe the same. Yeah. Put that in front of you to then have you go out and step out into that vision of what you saw for yourself.
And well, I'll tell you, a couple of things happened. And it's happened on a few different occasions in my life. There was a time where I felt like I was supposed to give somebody a lot of money. And there was like this generosity thing that I was just supposed to do and just have this. And I was like excited about it. I was like, yeah, this is an alignment. I feel like this is God, directing me. I just need to do this. And then I let people talk me out of it. And I didn't end up doing it. Or at least I was still generous, but not to the extent that I felt like I was supposed to be. I ended up losing the difference. I'd lost the money. Bad investment and a scam. And I was like, oh, crap. That was God, or that was the whisper of the universe. That was the invitation, and I blew it, and I needed to not have that money.
Yes.
And I did it the wrong way, but grace has a way of bringing everything about, and it was taken from me violently, just like that role, just like that church leadership role. I felt that whisper, like, I actually want to do something else. And when I was on planes and people asked me what I did, I never said pastor. I just didn't like identifying with it. I would talk about being a coach or a speaker or whatever, because I didn't like the barrier that it brought up.
Yeah.
And that represented kind of the categories of right, wrong, people are in or they're out. And I didn't like participating in that system of categorizing people and making them in or out. And so I was feeling increasingly uncomfortable about the whole framework.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I
just kept going
I
forward.
got caught up in this success. I was, the success I was having, and until I was forced. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a big reason why Stacy and I gravitated towards coming to your sermons, was because non-denominational churches still operate religiously. You gotta, you used to call it the handshakes and the hula hoops, right?
It feels like secret handshakes and members only jackets and hoops you got to jump over.
Yeah. So I was all about that from a spirituality standpoint. I was doing a lot of deep diving at that point. I was questioning myself, my actions, who I was, as a person. And so I went and I started, deep diving into the Bible, and I read it back and forth 3 times, both Testaments. Started getting into Bible study groups, and really getting down to the theological aspect of studying the Bible. And then I started seeing things behind the curtains. I was like, wait a second, I'm seeing a lot of judgment and pointing fingers over here, and they're doing things behind the curtains that aren't up to what they're preaching, right? Yeah. And then we naturally progressed over to one of your sermons at the library, and Stacy was like, I really like the way he speaks. I really like what he's coming down with. Great. So we go that direction, and then again, the institutional church, I'll just be outright blunt about it. They cared more about their image than what the actual message was, right? Acceptance. Yeah. Except we all know we all have sticky pasts. So forgiveness. We've been forgiven. Yeah. So therefore, we should just continue to move forward and understand that whatever happened in the past was the past, and there's nothing you can do to change it except for keep moving forward, right? And so that also impacted who we were as a couple going to the institutional church. And I truly believe that the church is everywhere you're at, just based off of that. I volunteer more than now. I'm in groups and environments where I'm helping others. That's why I started the show, was to inspire others, bring people like you on to help people see that your circumstances, your environment that you're currently in, it doesn't have to stay that way. If you feel like you need to change, then go out there and change it. Visualize it, put goals in place to get you to that point. I mean, that's basically what I did for the last 2.5 years. I found that I wasn't happy doing what I was doing or going down the direction that I was going, because I was basically doing it for somebody else. And I found my passion back in real estate, and I decided to go after it. And I said, I got basically 15 years left before I hit the 65, retirement mark. Well, do I even really see myself retiring? So what do I want to be doing with the rest of my life? And I just went, I worked tirelessly to keep my W-2 job, to keep my wife happy.
Some stability.
Right?
Yeah.
And then build this business on the side, and it eventually took over, and here we are today.
That's awesome.
Right? Now, is it going perfectly? Absolutely not. But I'm failing forward, and I have faith and trust that this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And so I'm not letting it stop me. I'm not letting it affect my persona and who I am. Yeah. My producer, Kyler, we just had a conversation. He's like, whoa, I didn't even know it was that dramatic. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty dramatic, but you wouldn't be able to tell.
Right. Well, because it doesn't, you've matured to the point where it doesn't affect you the same way that it would have back then.
Yep.
And that's what's happened to me too. And I think that you can participate in kind of the surrender as crap is happening and hitting the fan and things are falling apart. You can surrender and participate and believe that it's going to work out for good, or you can resist and fight and blame and be in denial and just anxious
Destroy
and miserable
relationships.
and destroy, destruction. Or you surrender and go and go with the flow, how life is leading.
And it's really like seeing the Matrix. You kind of you kind of step back and you can see the zeros and the ones, and you're like, okay, I can see how this is playing out. All right, I'm in it. I'm feeling the emotions.
Feeling it.
I'm going through it. But another point that you made, it's how long you stay in it now.
That's right. Yeah, I think that there's a couple of levels of that growth. I think that one of them, and we learn this from the personal development gurus, is one level of this kind of maturity or awakening, or however you want to think about it, is that you realize that you can reframe any situation.
Yes.
That everyone's just making up crap about what things mean. There's this ancient book by Solomon, who the Bible talks about being like the wisest person to ever live. And in this book, it's called Ecclesiastes, he goes on and on about how everything is meaningless. Everything's a chasing after the wind. And people in most religious circles ignore that book and don't talk about it because it's depressing or it's confusing. But what if he's right? What if everything is, in a sense, meaningless, and part of being kind of created in God's image is that we get to decide what it means.
Yes.
That we get to decide, that we get to follow. We believe that God's leading us for good, and so we're going to decide what that means. And I think that's that mental reframing. So if I get in a car accident on the way here, then I can decide this is the worst day. I was coming to help Joe with a thing or whatever, and this was going to be great, and then I'm late, and then the car, and then the insurance. Or you can decide, maybe I just needed to slow down. Maybe I was too obsessed with getting to where I was going. Maybe I was distracted. Maybe you just reframe it, whatever. The thing that you're going through with the investment property, maybe it's just a reframing. I needed this lesson. I needed this lesson.
That's exactly right.
So you reframe,
and that actually makes you appreciative for what you're encountering.
Grateful for it. And then, so that's a huge thing, and most people never even get to that reframing. But I think that there's another level too, which after we practice the reframing and get good at that, then there's almost like this place. I'm not here very often, but I've had teases of it where it just doesn't matter. Where all of it just kind of, you don't even have to go through the exercise because you just trust God and life that much. That it just kind of
You're like, oh, that's there for a reason. Okay. Move forward. Thank you for that.
It's just kind of like the speed of how it integrates into your life, the speed of surrender.
So you go through this, upheaval of your life. You move to a different state. They paid us to move. They said, "Get the hell out." I love that. You move to a different state, and then you start going with the business coaching and the one-on-one coaching, and it was very successful. I actually got to participate in that, which was very needed for me at that particular stage of my life. I was going through the transition.
Yeah, you were.
Right?
It was that year when you were making your move.
Yes. Yeah. So I was actually the missing piece of the puzzle was identified. The universe put me in the situation of transitioning to a different company, and then your one-on-one coaching came along. It was like, yes, let's do this. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of what we did, the work that we did together in that 1 year time frame that we had together, led me to this point. It gave me the courage to go out and be open-minded to the opportunities that are available to me, getting educated, making sure that I'm setting goals and achieving those goals, getting those SMART goals down, and breaking it down to the ridiculous and reverse engineering and all of those things that I actually teach now to my team members, right? So I'm actually applying what I learned from our coaching sessions and then obviously other previous mentors to help me be successful today. You now have taken that into a whole different level with this franchise that you bought. And so tell me a little bit about how that happened and what led you to getting into that?
Yeah, so I was coaching a friend of mine, and they owned a business that had been saved, she says, by this EOS thing. And I had never heard of EOS. And I was wrestling at that time with, do I just pour tons of money into online marketing and try to funnel people to myself and continue the one-on-one coaching? At that point, I had coached like 20 or so people one-on-one, and I wasn't sure that was kind of the sustainable path. Mm-hmm. So this came at the right time where I see that EOS had transformed my friend's business. Then I talked to 2 other friends in the same span of time that said EOS had transformed their businesses. And it's just a basic execution system. It's not like a silver bullet. It's the basic things organized in a really simple and effective way. That if you just do this and focus on these 6 things, your business is going to go better and it's going to be more efficient. And so I saw that work in her business. I heard from my friends that had used it in their business. And then I started poking around and asking questions and doing some more research. And everybody that I met, there was an implementer or a coach, or that was involved, I just liked them. They were good people. And so I just got more and more confident and realized this is a great bridge for me.
Yeah.
Out of the work that I was doing into this new kind of leadership coaching space that I want to be in. And this is probably the ideal bridge where I'm being led. And bought the franchise and got the training and then just started. And like anything, there is a period. You alluded to this. Is everything going great for me in my, property investment? No, there's challenges. There is a period of just learning that's hard. And that has been true of this venture too. But I'm just now on the other side of it.
Nice.
Where, the money is good, the thing is working, I'm good at the work, and my clients are starting to tell other people about me. And so it's just kind of unfolding now, and there's more momentum.
And I see that you're getting back into the social media posting where you're out there on a hike and you're
starting to
kind of go into the power of thought and just say, let me just kind of get on here and wrap what my thoughts are being during this time out here.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Yeah. I think that's huge for you, just from a perspective of it's already your business. That's what you're doing anyways, right? So it just creates that following, that natural organic following that's going to help continue to grow your business. Yeah. So perseverance is what I heard.
Yeah, man. Just understanding, you know what? I was just talking with a guy yesterday evening. His kid is on my son's soccer team. He's head of marketing for a pro sports team in Arizona. And we were talking about doing some coaching together. And he's thinking of a transition himself, and we just talked about how you can brand, because I'm using like his language as a marketing guy. You can brand the transition. Yeah, because it's scary, man. Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, when you're good at something and you've logged all of these years to do something different, right? To walk away from that security and whatever. And let's brand it. I just told him. Okay, so year 1 is just the year of saturation. You don't put expectations on yourself to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're just saturating yourself in the new work. And it's this venture with his wife. You're just going to saturate yourself. Okay, then year 2 is going to be teamwork. And this is when you and your wife really start to put the pieces in place, where she excels doing her thing, and then you find your niche and you're able to excel. And then year 3 is going to be the momentum. So it's just like that. Yeah. But just break it down so that you don't have these like crazy expectations of being rich and famous. It's not even the point ever. Yeah. But you don't have these crazy expectations of the numeric things that you should hit. No. In the first year, you're not going to. Yeah. It's going to be a slugfest. Yeah. Just embrace it.
Yeah. Embrace it. It's funny because there's wins and losses, and actually it's so funny how things happen right before you're going to go on air to a podcast, and we have this saying around here: "Save it for the pod." So we're gonna get a T-shirt made for sure.
Save it for the pod.
But I was just talking to one of my mentees, and we were talking about a property that's currently been on the market for above 40 days, and we're starting to get to that point where now we have to make a decision on what we do with the property. And I was like, what's the ultimate end goal? Is it to hit a home run, or is it hit a base hit, and take the lessons that you learned while getting around the bases? I don't count any of my wins or losses. I just say it was all a journey, and it's a lesson learned that is going to help me excel and be more efficient for the next one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's right.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. And you don't even know when you're starting out, you don't even know how it's going to go, which is probably grace, because if we knew, like, if we just saw the bad things that are going to happen, we might not jump.
You wouldn't go.
You wouldn't go.
Yeah. It's literally the, if everybody jumped off a cliff, would you do the same thing mentality? I saw one and that didn't look fun, so I'm not going.
Right. But all of those falls lead to renewed strength, a new vision, a new perspective, new possibilities on the other side, and they end up being worth it.
Yes.
But all you can know kind of when you're going through, one of the things that, I referenced a Tony Robbins quote, and you're pulling Bible verses and quotes all the time, and you need to cling to those. One that I found for myself, what to be helpful, was that bad news is the beginning of breakthroughs. Bad news is the beginning of breakthroughs. So you have to accept the bad news, accept the fall, accept that it didn't work out, be honest about it.
Yeah.
And then you keep moving on and you build from it.
Right.
And it's just part of it.
We didn't know any of anything about failure until we actually got into the educational system. Right. So when we learned to walk, we fell down.
We didn't stop.
As a matter of fact, when we actually got praised when we just stood up.
Right.
And if we fell, we got praised again.
2 steps.
3 steps. Yeah.
4.
There was no failure. So I think that there's a mindset about just being aware of what's happening to you in the current moment, not accepting that this is a failure, but accepting that this is a process that you needed to go through to get where you need to be. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's right. It's just part of it. And life is not happening to me, it's happening for me. Yeah. And you just choose to believe it. And your mind is going to try to talk you out of it all the time. Yeah. And say, but. And we've grown so accustomed to worry and anxiety as normal, but you know what? It's not. It is our mind, our ego trying to control the situation.
That's it.
That's all it is. And if we can surrender and let that go, we'll see that there's this benevolent plan that's being laid out for us, and that the falls and the stumbles and the redirects are grace, just a part of the process leading to something better.
I love that. I love that so much. So you've written some books. You've got this new franchise that has a book that comes along with it that I haven't read yet. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm trying to figure out what's going to be
that one
on the
I didn't
reading
write.
list.
That's called Traction. It's by Gino Wickman. It's fantastic, and that breaks down the whole EOS thing.
Okay.
And people can just pick up that book and do it on their own in their business. Hiring someone like me helps them go further faster, but you can just do it on your own.
Yeah. And so is there another book in the works? Are you writing right now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am. I'm working on another project right now because EOS is perfect for getting your execution figured out.
Okay.
Bringing order and organization, right people, right seats. What are we measuring? What's our meeting rhythms? All those kind of basics for execution.
Okay.
Once you got that, once it clicks, I want to layer on another kind of coaching offering that really develops the human. And I think that that's what comes naturally to me anyway. So helping, like, let's just call it mediocre managers become catalytic coaches.
I love that.
And so I'm building out a framework that talks about that, and starting to build in that direction. It takes a while when you go through something that's life altering to like rebuild your vision. But as I've embraced this journey, my vision has continued to expand, and I'm seeing more of it each week, each month, each year.
Yeah. So you're basically taking the core process of the business model and expanding it to the human nature.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I knew you were going to be doing that. I knew you were going to kind of dissect it. It's like, when you saw a radio clock and you took it apart just to see what was inside, right? I mean, that's basically.
You did that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. You must have done that.
I definitely did that.
That's beautiful. You have a beautiful mind.
I was like, why is this working so well? Let me take it apart. I always missed one part putting it back together, though. I don't know how that impacted.
Dad's not pleased at that point.
Yeah. I spent all my money on that, right? But I kind of felt like that's the direction that you were going to go. You were going to kind of take this franchise, understand it, dissect it, and then how can I put Caleb Anderson to it? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, and that'll take another season. We'll figure that out over the next few years. But I'm grateful that I've been led to where I am, and I'm able to help whole leadership teams and whole organizations.
That's just kind of what you were doing anyways,
fantastic.
Right? You were organizing all the small groups and,
right.
Making sure that everybody kind of, you identified the leader in each group and encouraged them. Yeah. So it's the same thing, but it's just a different strategy.
Nothing's wasted.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Awesome. So where can people find you? Are you actively promoting stuff, or you got like a website or anything like that, or?
We have, depending on when this episode goes, there's on Instagram is probably where I'm most active, and the handle is Ask Caleb Anderson. We just shifted to Ask Caleb Anderson because we bought AskCalebAnderson.com, and that will be going live in the next few weeks.
Nice.
And that's probably the place.
Awesome. Yeah. Good. So I appreciate you coming out. Thanks for joining me. I really do think that we hit some very great points for everybody to inspire some people out there that may be going through a tough time, or maybe they're in that moment of feeling like the world is against them, and we're here to tell you, and we're proof that the world is not against you. So just step back, take a breath, contemplate, and enjoy the journey. So thanks for joining me. And if you like what you heard here today, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And we're on all of the social media platforms at The Inspired Show. See you on the next episode.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.